Okay, so as you can see, there's hydraulic fluid everywhere, and that's because this brand new pump I've been fighting with for the past couple of hours has failed. I say couple of hours, I mean it's the next week, but what can you do? All I would really want to sum this up by is saying that this particular pump, made by Rugged has a JCB outlet that I really wanted to put on here because it was very similar to the other pump, had the same output as the last pump that came on the 284. However, it just failed. And the reason why it failed is because of side load. Now, when I designed the coupler, and we're going to go for a ride back here, I know there's hydraulic fluid literally everywhere, but that's for me to clean up. Is that particular coupler that I designed and made, I made so that way it would be stronger than the belts that were crimped together that the previous owner had made. And I made it so that way the bolts are not torqued in all the way, and that way it could, be a coupler and not a rigid connection. However, I didn't apparently make it so that way it was backed off enough, because apparently that side loading is what made the pump fail. And apparently that's completely my fault. Now, to be fair, I could have turned this shaft down and to a 5/8 Lovejoy, which I contacted the people who make this particular pump, and they were just like, yeah, dude, you were putting so much side load on it, it failed. And fair enough. Again, this is my side project and things that I do. But I'm pretty confident in the things that I do because I was able to get this rewire this tractor, put a new carburetor on it, and have it run okay. Not fantastic, but like okay. This pump has been fighting me though, continuously, and not to knock the people who made it, but I definitely did buy a clockwise pump. And as you can see here on the front here of my brilliant plumbing, it is not a clockwise pump. The bigger outlet, which is supposed to be the input for the fluid, is the output. And I couldn't figure that out because I had run it, and I was figuring out why it wasn't trying to prime itself, because this is a self-priming gear pump. And I eventually found out when I put the 3/8 hose, hydraulic hose, in a bucket of fluid, and it was able to pump it backwards, which is not ideal. So I had to swap this over, and then through a diagnosis, it ran fairly well. Then it started springing a leak, and then that leak rapidly grew, and then the bucket fell on the ground. Now, that being said, it was probably due to, again, the coupler and not anything that the aluminum pump did, but I do kind of want to make a new pump adapter, and I bought a Halifax cast iron pump that can handle 150 pounds of side loading. I couldn't find anywhere online where this could handle any sort of side loading, and I contacted people who made the pump, and they were like, yeah, please use a jack shaft or a Lovejoy if you're going to use this. So that's what I've done. I have particularly made sure that this particular next setup will not fail as the other one. I have bought a bi-directional one instead of a directional pump, which I should have done the first time. That way, it doesn't matter which way the engine turns, I can flip it any which way I want, and I'll avoid this absolute monstrosity. Now, that being said, I found a couple of other leaks on the tractor, such as the tractor supply fittings that I put on here. They leak pretty bad. I'm going to take that off, and I'm just going to get another adapter, a solid one this time, and not a swivel one, because it's exactly where it's leaking. And that way I could just directly connect the 3/8 to the 1/2 inch, Now you're probably thinking, why just not go half inch all the way? And that's because I thought that was 3/8. And sometimes your poor planning becomes others' opportunity to sell you adapters. I've learned. Anyway, what can you do other than start over? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this pump off. I'm going to see the bearing, and I'm going to actually try to fix whatever I can on this, so that way it doesn't become complete and utter scrap. But chances are that it will. So until I get the new parts, I don't think there's going to be another update on the Curtis for a while. However, I do have that big log pile that I do need to split, and so yeah, why not? Anywho, see you next time.